Just confirm if my screen is visible. Is it visible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so today's topic is your data visualization. So it was one of the small topic that was there in your unit 2. So I think you people might have studied this topic in data mining, maybe in some other subjects, but let me go through it. What is data visualization, and somehow it is related with data exploration as well, because these two terms are sometime used. So we will see what is data exploration as well as what is data visualization, and how we can plot some chart graph using Python. Okay, we will see, and we will try to interpret it also. Okay. So we will try to cover some of the tools of data visualizations, and you will see how data visualization and exploration can help you dig out some of the informations, how you can bring some patterns after the data, and how you can interpret that patterns that can help you also to decide some decisions as well. Okay, so you will also see the business side of it, of some of the visuals. Okay. So whenever you do any data science project, so we go through these bubbles. So first we try to bring some business discovery, means you have some, you can say, the business statement at hand. Then you collect some data, right? So data discovery is nothing but whatever data you have, primary, secondary data, you try collecting it. Okay. And then you have something called data preparation. So majority of the data scientists, you will see, they struggle with this data cleaning and data preparation part. So 62, you can say the more than 60% of the time people do struggle with this data cleaning and data preparation, because once you are done with this data cleaning and preparation, you can easily apply algorithms. Applying algorithms are easy, but finding data clean and clear for the analysis is very difficult. Okay. And then we go through this data exploration part, that is exploratory data analysis. So data exploration means there are different ways of exploring the data. Means how you can there are ways. For example, we whenever we have some numerical data, we try to plot some charts, graphs, we try to visualize it beforehand, before applying any machine learning algorithms. Okay. Or we try to capture some correlation, covariance, you can say some kind of a regression, to check whether data are consistent or not. Okay. If there are some features which are correlated, or we can say some of the features which are repeated. Okay. So that is called exploratory data analysis. Means we are trying to explore how your data is behaving. Means how your data is behaving, means is there any pattern in the data, is there any missing values in the data. Okay. Or is there any, you can say, the outliers in the data. So this data exploratory part will let you know pre-hand. Okay. And then you can apply for different machine learning algorithms. Okay. And then comes this your feature extraction part, this feature engineering. So in machine learning algorithms, or in machine learning, so this feature engineering or feature, you can say, sometime you might have heard of this term called feature extraction. Okay. Either you can extract the features which are relevant to your analysis, or you can also create a new feature for you. Okay. So that is called a feature engineering. Either you can keep some features which is obviously relevant for your business, or you can discard it, or you can create a new feature for you. So these all are the things which are included in feature engineering. Also there is something called feature relevance. Those features which are relevant to you, those who have high weightage. So these are the few terms which you might have heard in feature engineering. Okay, then comes this model building. Model building is nothing but a kind of a machine learning algorithms. So once you are done with this feature engineering and everything, you have a feature at in your projects, means you have a features available with you. Now it's time for you to apply some machine learning algorithm. For example, if you have a dependent variable and many independent variable, if you have a numerical data, then you can apply different regression algorithms. Okay, that is called a model building. And also you can validate the model. Okay, through training and testing data you can validate your model, right? Then because 70% and 30% ratio, try to keep it for training and testing the data, right? So once your model is validated, then you try to give a scores means how much your model is performing, their accuracy percentage, you can say. Then you try to give a scores to it. Okay, for example, if you're applying 5 regression model ML models, then you try to give different scores. For example, if some model is predicting, let's say 80%, someone is predicting 81, 85, 90, so you try to give some scores to it, right? So that is your scoring of the ML models. And also sometimes you give some scores to the features which are relevant to you. Okay, so these are the some steps, and whenever you do any data science project, you have to go through all these steps. Okay, typically you follow these steps. And data exploration, and whenever you start any project, you start with some hypothesis. Either, for example, for a COVID analysis, so for example, there are many people who were infected with the COVID. Okay, so whenever you do any analysis, you start with some kind of assumptions. So any ML project start with some assumptions. That is your hypothesis. Either you do some kind of a null and alternate hypothesis. Okay, so these are the parts of your, you can say, the data exploration, and also some part of our data visualization as well, but we will see later on. Okay, so data exploration and visualization. So sometime people get confused with this data exploration and data visualization. Okay, so there is some term called exploratory data analysis. Okay, so in exploratory data analysis, sometime we try to visualize the data. So we make some charts, graphs, maybe we do some kind of a correlation, maybe regression, covariance analysis. So these are the some terms we try to capture it. Maybe we do some kind of a mean, median, mode. So these are the part of data explorations. We are trying to explore the data once we have, right, before applying any machine learning algorithm, because we try to check whether there is some consistency in the data or not, whether some missing values are there or not. If your data is inconsistent, then you try to make it in a way that we can apply it in a machine learning algorithms. That is why we do some kind of a normalization. Then there are different ways to explore the data, right? Then comes this data visualizations. Okay, so whenever you do any machine learning project, it's not like you apply at certain stage the data visualizations. So if your data is numerical, okay, so if your data is numerical, then you go with, you may take help of, maybe you draw some histogram, bar chart, box plot, scatter plot, right? So a scatter plot is nothing but to check whether your data have some kind of a correlation or not. We have shown you something called a heat map. Heat map is also used to see the correlation in the variables, okay, in the different variables. If you have certain correlations, you can easily plot it out, the heat map. Heat map will give you the different correlations values, right? So data visualization is not, you can say, the specific part of you can say the specific phase. You can do data visualization at any stage of your data, data science project. Okay, because ultimately we have to check how data is behaving and how it looks like, whether data have more outliers, data is scattered, so that the only visuals can give you the summary of the data. That is why sometimes for data summarizations we use mean, median, mode and different charts, graphs, right, to check the different, the identifying relationship and the patterns in the data, right? So different, there are different tools available with us. There are different, you can say, the built-in tools. So different built-in tools we have, for example, you might have worked with this Excel, right? So in an Excel sheet, typically, traditionally, we work with the Excel because Excel is can give you a lot of information, right? So these are the some software tools, you can say, means the one that is built in, right? That is cooked up for you. Only you put in the data and it will give you the, different charts, graphs. So Excel is one of the best way to plot, and also you can visualize the data and you can see how data is behaving and how it looks like, right? And there is one important data visualization tool, that is a Tableau, and also the Power BI. So there is a constant fight between this Tableau and Power BI, right? So in enterprise level, this Tableau and Power BI is used, right? So the data visualization tools, because majority of your you can say the firms, they are using different data visualization tools, and majority of them they are using, the Tableau and Power BI depending on their need and requirement. Okay, there is something called ClickView, which is also you can hit in the market apart from this Tableau and Power BI. Then there are different, you can check in with the Google, the Fusion Charts, High Charts, Xplenty, Google Charts, K9, Zoho Analytics. So these are the some, available tools which you can work, and you can easily import data, and you can see the different visuals they can give you instantly, okay, once you import the data, right? So these are the some software tools that is also a data visualization tools to check how data you can see looks like, and it will give you the different visuals, and then you can interpret it, because ultimately you have to check the patterns in the data. Once you have some patterns in the data, now it's time for you to communicate that patterns in a business sense, because every single visuals will tell you a single story. Because ultimately, whenever you visualize data in a Tableau, ultimately we are somehow addressing some story, because every single visuals tell you a story. Story is nothing but it's a pattern in the data. Ultimately we are narrating patterns in a business sense. Okay, now we have some libraries available in Python. Okay, so I have used R also, because some of the library in R and Python, they are so similar. Okay, I'll let you know which library is similar in Python and R. So in Python you might have worked with maybe a matplotlib, okay, mathematical plot library, scikit-learn, plotly, seaborn, pandas, d3.js, that is for JavaScript, okay, bokeh, altair, folium, pygal, geoplotlib, missing numbers, and ggplot. And ggplot and ggplot2 are typically similar in R and Python. Okay, so some the ggplot is whenever you plot geographical data. So for example, in geographical information systems, where these industry rely on the geographical data, that is latitude, longitude, maybe they analyze some depth. For example, if you have a sea, if you have a water body, then they also capture the depth of the sea water bodies, apart from the xy coordinate, that is your geographical coordinate, okay, latitude and longitude. So the ggplot will plot you can say the geographical plot. Okay, so there are different, as I already told you, the different tools for data visualization and exploration. That is, first one is a Tableau desktop. Okay, so in a Tableau, I think it's one of the best, you can say, the enterprise tools, because it has a great performance and powerful computation, you can say, and easy to use. And I have also used it. So if you see their graphs and charts, it's a more, you can say, the more communicating. Okay, and so people typically use this Tableau desktop majority of the time. And but there are some problem with this dex this Tableau also, because as it's enterprise level tools, so it's costly, and there are some restrictions. Okay, and obviously it's you can say, the as Tableau needs more, you can say, the a kind of they need more embeddings or different, you can say, the library to be added. So there are some, you can say, the cons of it also. But I'll whatever experience I have, I can easily tell you Tableau is one of the best tool for data visualization. Okay, now coming to this Power BI. Power BI is obviously it's from Microsoft, and more of a, you can say, if you know the Excel, so you can also work on this Power BI. So a lot of good things are there in Power BI, but they are they are upgrading it, and it's affordable for people, and it gives a single view of the data dashboard, because in a single dashboard you can see multiple visuals, and wide variety of charting options for data visualization. So you have a different uh, charts available, different visuals available. So you can also you know convert it into, for example, bar chart, histogram. So these all things are available, so you can visualize data in a different pie charts. Okay, different charts, you can say. If that is available, then you can apply. So it gives you a multi-dimensional of the data. Okay, so that is why Power BI is also you can say good. And also there is a constant fight between this Power BI and Tableau, right? And the problem with this Power BI is that not right tool for handling bulk data. So if you have a huge number of data, so sometime it hangs. So that is the problem, and cloud version does not have all the features available in the window version. So these are the some problems, but at a student level, I think both you can use it, Power BI as well as Tableau. Okay, and then one of the you can say the third tools is your ClickView. So ClickView is used, you can say, powerful business intelligence tool for reporting capabilities, and you can say clutter-free user interface, because their interface is good. So ClickView is also one of the you can say the finest tool available for data exploration visualizations, and they are also called a business intelligence tool also. Okay, so you can also read it out. And the problem with this ClickView is that depending on the quantity of data sources, it can be slow to refresh. So obviously the bulk handling of the data is problematic for the data visualizations, all the tools, because whenever your data is huge, so the processing time is getting lower and lower, right? If not managed well, data integrity can be an issue. So that is also a problem, and creating dashboard is not easy. So that the biggest problem is that ultimately for data visualization tools, it is the dashboard. Once you have a dashboard, once you are able to create a dashboard, nice dashboard, because ultimately your manager, top manager, is interested in a dashboard, because the more information is there in the dashboard, they can easily interpret it, and you can easily communicate the business sense of it. That is why the dashboard is important. So in ClickView, you will struggle with a quality dashboard. That is the problem. Okay, now coming to one of the tool called Orange. Okay, Orange is a free tool available, and it is a Python. Their backend is built on Python. Okay, so you people can also use Orange because it gives you machine learning capability as well as data exploration. So it is extended tool, the Orange one. So I have used this Orange earlier. So I have found it out because it's easy for people who are not good in the programming. So the people who are not good in Python programming, maybe in R, they can easily import the data and they can select the different machine learning algorithms, and then they can visualize the data and they can create a machine learning algorithms. Okay, so it's for people who are not good in the programming. Okay, and it's one of the best I think the tool available. Even I have used it and I have found it very interesting because you can save a lot of time as well as you can create a lot of visuals for you. Okay, so that is a good in case of this Orange. Okay, now coming to this Fusion chart. So Fusion chart is typically JavaScript based tool, and you can import it. The people who are good in the Java programming, they can use this Fusion chart. Okay, now coming to this Google charts. So if obviously we all are using this Google, so you can import the data and you can have a different charts, different visuals available with you. Okay, and it's a simple and user friendly and highly interactive one, fast and accurate. Obviously it's a Google supported, so you can have these different features. Okay, and the problem is obviously of you require internet connections while using this tool, and lacks demos on advanced features. Working with API for complex presentation is sometimes difficult, and obviously they require some kind of statistical processing. So something which are problematic with this Google chart, but ultimately for basic usage you can easily typically use this Google chart as well. Okay, K9 is also one of the good tool, and I have seen people using, the people who are in the research, maybe in the academics, they do use this K9, and sometimes people do use for natural language processing. Okay, so these are also good tool, and I think you can try few tools. You can Google and you can see how these tools are working, because every single tool has some pros and cons, and depending on your requirement and the convenience, you can use these different data visualization and exploration tools. Okay, and then comes this R, and obviously the R is also the programming language, or also sometimes people call it a programming tools. So R is the basic one, and I can assure you there are many companies which are using this R along with the Python, because Python has more you can say flexibility. People do have different wave they can use it with the waves, and but the problem with the R is that there is not much of this wave capability, so sometimes it lacks. But R is also one of the good programming tools, and you can use it for machine learning algorithms, for developing machine learning algorithms, because if you want to run the regression, maybe the neural networks, you can fairly use it. So it's a basic one, and you must know the R along with the Python. Okay, so in the Python, I think you people have exposure to Python. So obviously why Python is right now in the hit in the market, because the problem, you can say that the beauty of this Python is that it's a simple and easy. Obviously it's object oriented like the Java, portable, readable, extensive library, because you have seen it for every single programming machine learning algorithms. You have a hell lot of the libraries, so you can easily import it and you can work, right? And also if you want to develop some applications for IoT, right, Internet of Things, So the Python, you can do the Python programming, and you can have those IoT embedded with the Python, and you can create some project for you. So they have a large number of capability. They capture a lot of the business requirements, and they can sort it out. So that is why Python is hit in the market, and every single enterprise, so maybe the smaller one to large scale industry, they all use in at some stage this Python, okay, for building maybe some software applications, maybe in the machine learning algorithms, for training machine learning algorithms. So they do use it, okay. So and the disadvantage part is that maybe if you have a lot of data, obviously the speed problem, maybe the weak in mobile computing. So there are less disadvantage, I would say, but more advantage when it comes to Python, okay. So now if you see the importance, you can say, the data expression and visualization, how you can visualize it. I mean, where the data visualization falls. So the data presentations, once you have a data everything and you have analyzed the data, right? Data exploration means once you have visualized the data. So there is something, once you have data that is explored, that is visualized, then it comes to telling the story, right? Data storytelling. So the people who have exposure to maybe the data visualization, so there is something called storytelling, that is called a data storytelling. So people who have used this Tableau, so once you have a the data which is explored, maybe the visuals available with you, so every single visuals, as I already told you, have a single story, maybe the multiple story hidden in it. So the story, which is nothing but it's a hidden pattern in the data, because every single data or every single visuals, right, tell you a story. So we are trying to bring some story out of the data in through the data visualization or data exploration, by doing data visualization and data exploration, okay. And that story is something which we want to convey, maybe in a business sense, okay, because ultimately every single a data set tells you some story. So that is the importance of data exploration and visualizations, okay. So data expression means, maybe I have already told you, right, if you want to understand the different variables means, if you have a, let's say, 10 features in the data, right, for example, you are predicting a stock, right, now you have a 10 features, so based on those 10 features you are predicting a stock, right. So now you want to understand that how those 10 features looks like, is there some linearity in the data or not, whether your data is normally distributed or not, whether it has some outliers, right. So once you have a data right, so the outliers plays an important role, right. So you also want to trim the outliers, because if you have outliers, it can distort your obviously the your research, you can say. So that is why once you have detected the outliers, it's time for you to remove those outliers, right. So the outliers can be seen through different visual or different visualization. For example, we plot some box plot, that is something called a box plot, right. So box plot will give you also the outlier, histogram, scatter plot. These are the some plots which can give you a visual outliers. And also you can examine the patterns and the relationships. So if your data is scattered at center, let's say, it means your data had some high correlation, okay. If it is maybe scattered totally scattered, it means your data doesn't have any correlations, and the data is more variable, right? So before applying any machine learning algorithm, as I already told you, the data expression, data visualization give you a sense of the data, right? You can easily investigate before applying machine learning algorithms. So that is why it is always advisable, whenever you have a numerical data, first try to plot it out. Okay, so these plots will give you a lot of information. Okay, now how data expression visualization can help you in marketing manager to deal with the business challenges. Okay, so now just try to connect the visuals with some of the business challenges. Okay, for example, if you have some visuals with you, so as a marketing manager, let's say you are working with some AI company and they just want to do some marketing. Okay, and now you have a manager and he just want to understand the different visuals that is presented with him. Okay, so how to allocate marketing budgets across different channels? For example, if they want to promote their AI products in different channels, right? So how they gonna allocate the budget? That can also be used. You can also use this data expression different visuals. Okay, and you can stress your manager that you can use these many, the budgets, these many dollars in different channels. Maybe in social media you can use more budgets, maybe in the physical mode you can use less budget. Okay, so which marketing strategy and tactics are getting the best results? So also which strategy you can apply once you have a data, if you have visuals and different narratives with you, different story with you, right? So if you have all these things with you, then it's time for you to look for different strategy. Okay, in a strategy class you might have heard of different strategy. Okay, and we will touch upon here the one of the strategy, right? And changes in the traditional versus digital marketing spend and what's the impact. So also you can see whether you want to invest more in a digital marketing or you can go with the traditional flow of the market, right? So these all things can be leveraged using the data expression and data visualization. So pre-hand you have a different data, right? And their story, and those stories can communicate in a business sense and you can apply it, right? So these are the some benefits of the visuals, the exploration that you can leverage and you can help your marketing managers. Okay, what percentage of marketing budget spend on the digital marketing? You can say how much should form budget for the marketing, how much you can keep it for the marketing, how much you can keep it for the sales, for finance, for different verticals. What is the right strategy for your business? Which strategy you can pick up for your business, right? So whether you can, maybe the different marketing strategy, maybe the online, offline, maybe the different BCG metrics. So these all things can help you, but for that you must have the data, you must have different visuals available with you, you must have the dashboard available with you. The dashboard can tell you the different story, and based on those story you can decide. Okay, that is why if you see the manager's laptop, they have different dashboards. So every morning they check those dashboards because every single KPI is captured in that, and they look for different KPIs, the key performance indicators, and they also try to work on those KPI, which KPI they should work more and where they should lack, right? So these are the things which must be addressed, and that can be addressed using the good dashboard that comes from data expression and visualizations. Okay, so strategy, coming to this strategy, there are different strategy. Maybe you have heard of in the strategy class, there is something called functional level strategy, the HR, marketing, the operations, these all comes under the functional strategy. So you look for this day-to-day operations, right? Then comes this business strategy. The competitive advantage meet needs of the key customers. That comes under your business strategy. Then comes the corporate strategy. So if your firms wants to acquire, they want to leave the industry, so the mergers and acquisitions are the part of this corporate strategy. Okay, so the different strategy all together, every single company have a different strategy. Okay, because ultimately that leads to the business generation, okay, the revenue generation. So every single industry work with this strategy part. Okay, without a strategy you cannot run obviously the bigger firm, right? So strategy is very much important. So you might have aware of this Ansoff matrix. Maybe you have heard in the marketing class or maybe in a strategy class. Okay, the Ansoff matrix. Okay, so the different strategy, for example, I'll explain you the market penetration strategy. If you have, let's say, product and existing product and existing market, then you go with this market penetration strategy. If you have a new product, then you go with the this product development strategy. And there is something called diversification strategy and market development. So let me explain you through this visuals. For example, for Apple, how they are growing their business. Okay, if you see this diversification, okay, launching new iPhone for a new country. For example, there is a one, let's say, South African company, maybe sorry, African country, right? And the Apple is launching the iPhone, new iPhone. So obviously they don't know the market, right? The market is new, the people is new, right? The product is new, so it's very high risk. Okay, so that is called a diversification. So company wants to diversify. Okay, but there are a company who takes risk. Obviously the company, a firm who have more capital, then only they can diversify, right? Then comes the product development. For example, we have a new product, but you just want to roll out in only the existing market, right? So you know the market, you know the people, just you want to experiment it. So obviously it will have a medium risk. Okay, so the medium risk, because majority of the company can take a medium risk. Okay, without medium risk you cannot survive it, and also you cannot expand your market. That is something called a product development. Then comes some market penetration. Okay, market penetration means obviously we have existing product, same product and existing market. You are selling the more of that product. That is your market penetration. Means you try to penetrate the market. For example, you might have heard of the Nokia phone. When it comes, it was hit in the market. So Nokia used to penetrate the market because it was in the low risk zone, and they sold many of that product. Okay, the similar product. Then comes the existing product and the new market. Okay, so it has something called a medium risk, like a new product development. But ultimately if company wants to expand it, so in that case obviously it's called a market development, because you're trying to capture the new market, right? So every single product or every single company, they draw this Ansoff matrix, because these are the part of a strategy, and they decide which product to roll, when to roll, and how much capital they want to invest. So all these things are coming from some data, right? The behind the story, behind formulating this strategy is the data. So once they have the data, they analyzed it, they explored it, they have a dashboard with them. Now it's time to take decisions. So the Ansoff matrix is outcome of those decisions, those dashboards. Okay, so if you see this visual, so you can relate, for example, market development. Now they have a Coke, now they have launched this zero, sugar coke. Diversification means they have unrelated diversification. Means, for example, a juice company is selling these t-shirts. Okay, so these are the some ends of metrics, and you can also relate with the previous visuals. Okay, so now coming to this data visualization tools. As I already told you, in the Python, we have a different data visualizations, libraries, built-in libraries. So we will see one by one few libraries, how and data can be visualized, and where you can use different libraries. That is more important, because ultimately, depending on, for example, if you have a data which has some geographical information, so the geoplotly, for example, maybe if you have a, let's say, a latitude longitude with you, so you will go with this geoplot. Okay, so we will see how these libraries can be helpful for us in case of a data visualization. Okay, so matplotlib is can be used to visualize different types of data. For example, you can use this scatter plot, bar chart, pie chart, stem chart, contour plots, fever plots. These are the some plots available with us. Okay. So behind that is the matplotlib library. Okay. So matplot is a multi-platform data visualization library built on NumPy. Okay. Designed to work with the broader SciencePy stack. It was introduced by John Hunter in the year 2002. Okay, one of the greatest benefit of visualization is that it allows visuals to access the huge amount of data in easily digestible visuals, because whenever I throw some numbers in front of you, you will get confused. But if I give you some plots, some charts, graphs, some visuals, you can easily you can understand it, and the visuals tell more story, right? Matplotlib consists of several plots like line, bar, scatter plot, histogram. Okay, so let's see. And then comes this Seaborn. Seaborn is a popular data visualization library that is built on top of a matplotlib. So whenever you import this Seaborn, you have to import this matplotlib along with Seaborn. Okay, so Seaborn's default style and color palettes are much more sophisticated than matplotlib. Okay, Seaborn puts visualization at the core of understanding any data. Seaborn is a higher level library. It is easier to generate certain kinds of plots. Okay, for example, if you want to plot these heat maps, time series analysis, violent plot. So whenever I go with this time series analysis, I have to import this Seaborn. Okay, and the heat maps which I have used. So in that case also you take help of this Seaborn library. Okay, because their plots are more, you can say more appealing and more higher level visuals. So these Seaborns are more important apart from this matplot library. Okay, then comes ggplot. ggplot obviously of you can say based on R's ggplot2. So people who work with the R programming, so in that case we use ggplot2. So ggplot2 is nothing but its extension of this ggplot. Okay, and the grammar of graphics, you can construct plots using high level grammar without worrying about the implementation of the details. So it also give you some you can say the visuals. So ggplot2 you can use it for different visuals, and it tells you more of a, you can say, the story of a data if you have available with you. Okay, bokeh is a library enables high performance visual presentation of a large data in a modern web browser. Okay, so if you have a data, so bokeh can be used, and for a web browser means if you want to extract some data, web scraping, in that case also you can use it. Okay, and I'll provide you the Python programming, and you can run it also, and you can see how different libraries, the different data visualizations library are helping data to be visualized in a manner which can help a business to understand the different patterns in the data. Okay, now coming to this Plotty. Plotty is widely known as an online platform for data visualizations. Okay, for example, if you have a data, I think for Plotty you require some kind of internet connectivity. Let's check, and very few people know that it can be accessed from a Python notebook like Bokeh. Plotty strength lies in making interactive plots. That is more important because you can interact with the charts graphs. So that is why this interactive plot can give you a lot of information, because whenever you try to hover the data okay, hover the screen, it give you some information, so that is interactive. Okay, and for example, if you just drop the cursor here, so every single this bullet tells you some information, so that is hidden in it. So that is called interactive. Means you can interact with the plot. Okay, so there is one more library called Pygel. Like Plotty and Bokeh offers interactive plots that can be embedded in a web browser. So you can create a browser. Okay, so whenever you run it, the Pygel maybe then the Jupyter notebook, it opens as a browser. It opens in a browser. Okay, so it's also interactive, and for it's easy to create a nice looking charts with just a few lines of code, since each chart is packaged into method and built in style in a great in a sophisticated manner. So for example, if you have mall customers data, the data set is here. If you run it, so the interactive how much the total customer is there, the female customers, the male customers. So it opens a HTML page, that is a web browser. It opens in a web browser, right? And it's interactive one. If you hover it, it tells you the number of male female customers. So it's histograms, and it is telling you some kind of patterns of the different customers, and it tells you the number, right? But in a visual form. So the Pygel is also interactive one, but it opens your the visuals in a browser, and it's interactive one, right? So Geoplotly, if you have map, right? You want to create a map like the heat maps, dot density plot, and also Geoplotly reduces the complexity of designing visualizations by providing a set of inbuilt tools for the most common tasks such as density visualization, spatial graphs, and shape files. So a spatial graph and shape files are nothing but people in a geographical information systems, people working with geographical information systems, so they use this spatial data, or sometimes you called spatial graphs. A shape file is nothing but it's more of a geographical files. Okay, they capture the latitude, longitude, and it's called a shape file. It's in the form of a shape. Whenever you open it, you will see different shapes. Okay, so that is called a shape file. Okay, so when you plot, then you will see the charts like this. This is called a Geoplotly, because the data we have some geographical information. For example, in a Kanpur, so obviously it is capturing the latitude and longitude of the Kanpur, okay, along with the additional information. So it has given us the entire plot of India. For example, it's a different store located at a different geographical location. So Geoplotly is putting a dot in that area using the latitude and longitude and the additional information. So whenever you run this Geoplotly, it gives you a geographical the map, and inside that map, if data is somewhere, let's say in India, so they give you the the map, the base map of India, and the dots are denoted by the information. So when you hover the dots, over it, it gives you the information contained in it. Okay. So then comes the missing numbers. So it's some quite interesting, the missing numbers. So if you have a huge data, right, let's say you have a 20 such features in your data set. Now you want to know whether some missing data is there or not, and how many rows are left, right, how many rows are blank. So in that case, this missing number can deal with this the missing data, right. The completeness of data can be gauged quickly with the missing numbers, rather than the you see independently, you go and search through the tables one by one, right. So it saves you the time and tell you how much the data is missing and how much you have to fill, right. It gives you that kind of information in the visual form. For example, if you see the capital, right, so it has a missing number. Every single features has 212 number of a data, right. But this capital population proper has 207, 207 and 38. It means it has a more missing data, right. And it has less but missing data, right. So through the visuals we can have a prior hand. Through the visuals you can see which feature has the missing data. Let's say city, lat, long, country, ISO 2, admin, capital has a missing this population and population proper. So these three features have a missing data. So you can have now information that these three features is missing data. Now it's time for you to how to fill up those data, and how to if you want to eliminate some rows, you can eliminate it. So this missing number can give you that kind of informations, and you can use filter and sort data based on completion or spot correlation with the heat map or a dendrogram. And also you can check whether two different features have a high correlation or not. Okay. So the missing number can deal with this kind of a problems. Okay. So this different libraries can help you with different visualizations, and how your data and how your features are important for you, and which feature to pick up and which features to discard, that you can easily sense based on different visuals, because every single visuals have some hidden story, hidden information, hidden patterns, and that patterns can be easily captured through data exploration and data visualization. That is why in data science these two data visualization and exploration is more important, because you people can easily understand how you can build this different machine learning algorithms. But beforehand, that is a typical task, because the data preparation part, then data visualization, these are some critical steps in data science. Okay. So this is all from my side. If you have any question, you can ask, and otherwise we can close for day. And